how much does that game highlight the difference between being competitive and being a contender?
Yeah, that was what we expected from Richmond. That was the level. That was a good experience for us to go through because it was finals football. We played a team that are the benchmark in the competition. We knew that coming in. We knew they were playing for a lot. We knew it would be at that high standard, and what a great lesson for us moving into next year. Off a season where we were disappointing on the field results-wise, we've had some incredible growth off the field. We're heading in the right direction, and we got the perfect game to finish with. We got a team that were desperate and so well connected. Huge respect for where they're at, and it's where we want to get to. So a great lesson for a lot of our young guys.
So what does that tell you about the players you need and also the way you need to play? When did you learn more about players or the way you need to play?
Well, you take a little bit of both. As I said before, they're obviously so well connected. They know they're predictable to each other. They know exactly how they play, and as an opposition coach, you feel like you know how they play. It's just a matter of stopping them. So there's that part of it. That's game plan. They've got a really rock solid game plan, but they've also got some fantastic footballers in amongst that as well. Speed seems to be something that can make the difference in the game at the moment. I thought they were really fast off ball. When they find their game and get it on their terms, they're hard to stop.
That's them, but what about yourself?
What are we going to do going forward? We'll just keep looking to add talent where we can. We do a lot of work in that space on getting better year by year, but we'll keep working on our connection. And I thought tonight was you have lessons like tonight. We fought really well. I thought we battled hard. Early we weren't able to get that ball in our forward half, and when you play against Richmond, if you're in your back half, good luck. But our guys fought hard. Eventually, I guess the wall broke. But I was proud of their effort tonight. I thought they competed, and they'll take more out of this game going forward than they will out of a lot of other games during the season.
Given you've seen what you guys are capable of doing, particularly in the last month, where do you set what your expectations of the group become after another pre-season together now? Do you want to see glimpses like that more consistently instead of just seeing little flashes from some of you guys, bearing in mind that a lot of them are still very young, obviously?
Well, consistency is the key. I think we feel like our last, call it 6 to 8 weeks, we found that recipe, or we found what it is that's going to get us to play consistent football. Even tonight, we'd come off after a game like tonight and be proud of what the group put out there, and that's what we're after. And hopefully our supporters and our members felt the same way. Yes, in the end, it was a far better team put us away in the end. So we've got work to do, as you asked about, that connection. Work to do on our game plan. A game plan's never set. We'll continue to work with the game, and we'll continue to look at how the game evolves and the trends, and we'll change things around that. But I've been really pleased with the development we've seen with the group, but I'm also I'm real about where we finished on the ladder. It's been a really disappointing season from a results point of view. We finished bottom in the comp, so we've got so much work still to do.
And does that sting, do you think, the players, the first wins for the club history?
Yeah, it does. And just prior to coming in here, I had a chat with Rory, and it stings. But while he's talking about it stinging, he's also really excited about what the future holds for a young group. But his main point to me was around, it needs to sting for us. This is our worst performance as a football club, and it does. And it's, when we look back on the year, we'll look at what we got wrong early, and why it went wrong. We've already gone through that. So we feel like we know, what we need to do to get to this level that we've been in the last month, and we'll do that from today.
Matthew, when we met you in November last year, you were trusting everything the recruiting guys were going to do. You were not so much hands-on in what you were telling us. So
Yeah, the more time you spend with your list management group, the more, again, we talk about connection, the more understanding they have of what I'm bringing as a coach, what I am looking for from our coaching group and how we're going to play, therefore what we're looking for from our players. So look, Reedy and I and Hamish and the guys, we've got a great connection on what we believe we need going forward. It's then a matter of, in what's a compromised draft this year, unfortunately we haven't had the 12 months to watch some of the Victorian boys play, and there's a fair bit of talent comes out of that space. It's a matter of us making sure we've got our research done correctly and we get the right players in to fit what it is we're trying to do.
Just elaborate on what you do think you need. I mean, obviously not
Yeah.
names, but positional midfield depth, all forwards.
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely look at midfield. I mean, you want to get in as strong midfield as you can. We've turned that around really well this year. So, you look at Matty and Rory, Brad coming back in, even Lairdy going inside. We feel like we've got some great midfielders in there, but you always look at, often those really talented players that get through the midfield at under 18 or under 16 level. They're often got great endurance, great speed, ability to find the footy. So you're always looking for those style of players. But this year's an interesting one in the draft. There's some real key players, key position players that look like they're going to go pretty early in the draft. So we have to look at that, where our picks come in, what sort of player looks like going around that mark. And we'll continue to add to all our areas. But we'll always have a look in that midfield zone.
If you do exit meetings, do they take place next week? How hard is it without actually knowing the sizes?
Yeah.
What can you say to some players?
Yeah, it's like the entire season. It's be prepared to be flexible because we don't have information, and it makes it really tough for us. With this next week we have our players. They'll exit Wednesday and Thursday, and there'll be conversations around. Well, unfortunately, at this point, it's not a lock on what we're actually going to do into 2021. But we'd like to give them as much information as we can and what we expect going forward. But yeah, it's a challenging time not knowing exactly what those list sizes are. That's probably the biggest part.
Do you need an answer ASAP from that? Not just you, but the actual player going to be in the same boat?
Yeah, there's a lot of clubs in the same boat, and I understand. We understand why it is what it is. It's been a season that we've done whatever we can to be flexible and understand it's a tough season. It's a tough one to get through. I think they've done a fantastic job, the AFL. So at this point, it'd be really nice for our players, for us to be a little bit more, or have some more clarity around what it is we see going forward. But it's tough. We've just got to work through that over the next few weeks or maybe month.
Matthew, if you're going to use one word to describe this year, which one would you pick?
I used one the other day. Challenging's been the word. Challenging, which is great because I love a challenge. I've enjoyed the challenge. It's been really tough at times. We haven't performed anywhere near where I expected us to be, but at the same time, what's going on behind the closed doors and within the four walls, we're well and truly on the right path to where we're trying to get to. So, yeah, it's been challenging, but I've really enjoyed the season at the same time.
So what surprised you from what were your expectations or your thoughts what the job is about a year ago? So what came from the dark side or the dark corner that you didn't expect? Besides the COVID.
Other than COVID?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably what's come off the back of all of that. The inability to train. You learn so much from so many good people coming through, on what is your coaching journey, and you get to this point and you have expectations around what you've experienced and that you learn from the best. And I hadn't learned any of this. We hadn't gone through, training in groups of 9, and we hadn't gone through, necessarily travelling on away games at 4:30 in the morning. And so, but what a great challenge! What an incredible thing to go through. And touch wood, I hope we don't see anything quite to this level going forward. But again, I've talked about this during the year, and there's so many people in worse positions than what we are. We put our heads down and we went to work, and we were lucky to have jobs. There's a lot of people that were a lot worse off than our industry, and that's what we're going through now, is an even tougher period of talking to staff and where do we go forward with that.
How do you assess Riley O'Brien's game today in the season overall?
I thought Riley's been really consistent right across the year. He's probably been our most consistent player. When we weren't quite getting stoppage done earlier in the year and not quite our contest, Riley was still competing each week and working hard. I feel like his last month has been his best, and it may not be looked at that way externally, but his connection that he's been able to build with his midfielders, he's been really predictable with the way he's played, and I think he's taken a step forward. I think he matured as a ruckman in the latter part of this season, so that's a really good sign for us going forward.
You've asked him to do a lot too. Obviously ruckman's been predominant, and a second specialist ruckman. Do you plan on going forward with that next season?
Yeah, again, that'll depend a little bit on quarters, and we've had some great development in some of our other tools. Elliot finished off the year really well, more forward of the ball and providing that presence forward, but that gives us an option, and I think he's pretty solid when he gets in the ruck. Quite enjoys being around the ball as well. Billy Frampton, I thought, took another step late in the year, and probably not quite the opportunity there for him just at the end, but I'd like to think we would, depending on where the game goes, we still feel Rob's got an advantage in that space. I mean, he's an elite runner, considering his size, and it's something we'll continue to look at.
When you're talking to people about next year, what's your sales pitch?
We're talking to people as in players or staff.
To get involved in your program, be it players, coaches, staff?
Oh, it's really giving them an insight into what's happening within the walls, giving them an understanding of what group we've got. We've got an amazing group within our four walls. Unfortunately, this year we haven't been able to show that externally, being locked down in a bubble. But some of the people we've got, both on field and off, so our playing group, incredible bunch of players who have battled through a really tough time and been able to turn it around. To speak to anyone about what we're looking at going forward and to give them an idea of how our season's gone, it is actually there's so much positive going on from a development point of view. It's quite an easy sell when you're speaking, possibly to players, speaking to staff. And we're all about getting better. We'll, as I've said it before, we'll look to develop from within, and we've done that all year. I think we've improved out of sight as a staff, as players, as a coaching group. As the year's gone on, we'll continue to do that, but we'll also have a look externally, and I guess that's the question you're asking, is you'd like to think we can attract some really good, experienced people to the club because of what they've seen over the last month on the field and what I'm able to talk them through about the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks.
You're probably sick of answering about Brad Crabs, but do you expect an answer at his exit meeting, staying or going, or what sort of time frame are you working with?
No, I don't expect an answer next week is when you're asking. That'll be something that Brad works through in his own time, and we've still got finals football going on, and there's still a fair bit to go through to what becomes a trade period and then a draft, and still a little bit of grey around some of that too. So, no, I'm not necessarily expecting an answer, but at the same time, I know we will sit down, and it may be a little easier for it to become real as we get closer to those times.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.